The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, since we have no sound, I'm assuming that the intro music has stopped. So welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Carlos.
And your volume is way down, CJ.
Yeah, they turn the speaker down in the studio.
It's
when I get a chance, I'll turn it up for you.
Okay, network difficulties.
Yeah, well, it's difficult for you, not for the audience. But happy recall day, everybody. 1 year ago today was our recall. And Fall River accomplished history. They successfully recalled the first elected official in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Congratulations, everybody.
I think for all of us.
Give everybody a pat on the back, and let's just keep it going, because that was the beginning of a revolution. And the fact is that we have to continue to do this, because if you go along that vein and you look at, I watched last night's Republican debate. It was long, but it was interesting. And at one point, they actually said that 80% of the people in the country believe that the government is totally disinterested in what the people want, and all they're interested in is their own agendas and power. Which is probably true. That's probably an accurate figure. I think more than 80% are not happy with the way the government is being run. But therein lies the problem, because we don't get an 80% turnout at voting. Mm-hmm. And this is what we keep telling people. If you don't like what's going on in your government, you have to go to the polls to change it. You can't say, well, there's nothing we can do about it, and not vote, because then you'll never get rid of these bums. And secondly, if you want to keep your bum, which is one of the other problems, they don't vote at all, or they'll vote for their own bum because they know someone who knows the bum, or one of their friends knows the bum, and they think they can call the bum for something in their own self-interest, and we got to get rid of the other politicians that aren't doing what the people want. This is the problem. I mean, it's staggering to think that they could give you that statistic. 80% of the people in the country are not happy with government. They don't think they're responsive to the people, yet all of these idiots are still in there. Why? Because of this. Because the people won't do what we have to do, and that's rise up and take the government over, as we did a year ago today. So congratulations on the anniversary. Let's not let this be the last time that the public exercises its rights to replace people who aren't doing what the public wants them to do. Because, again, in Fall River, it'll segue into something that there should be an article coming out on the Herald News shortly. The school department continues to lie, and I'm saying lie, about the health care. At the school committee meeting, which I believe CJ was at,
I'm actually tired of listening to the line of propaganda BS that comes out of that school committee and their people. But to digress just slightly on that, the school committee has proven, and so is the administration, that, yeah, Meg Mail Brown is the absolute best person that you can have running the city. Because you know what? Without her, things wouldn't happen. I mean, some of these things are just amazing. How about this thing? Isn't that amazing? We deprive our handicapped students the right to participate in the educational process. This happened at the Spencer Borden School on Monday, a brand new school which is handicap accessible. This stage has 2 ramps for somebody in a wheelchair to get up there, yet they placed Cam. And people know Cam in Fall River, Van for Cam program, to try to get him a van. to be transported across the city safely and expeditiously, and they put him down there in front. And I had a conversation with Cam's mom yesterday. She's livid. My niece called. She was livid. The people in the audience did not know how to handle it, but kudos to the mom. Kudos to Mom, Maria. She did not blow up. She did not create a scene because she didn't want to ruin this experience for the children in this school and her son. But you know what? At 9 o'clock in the morning yesterday, Meg Mayo Brown, Mark Costa, the principal, all came and made comments into what happened and apologies. Apology, apology, apology. And you know what? This is unacceptable. And then an unconfirmed story given to me was that they were waiting for another student in the school who's in a wheelchair to do the same thing, to put them both down there the way they did. That is unacceptable. That is an unacceptable behavior. That is a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and a federal Department of Justice complaint should be filed forthwith. Okay, so Barnstable, when you meet today in executive session to decide on the contract for mayonnaise, all right, please, let's make it very clear that this is what she does. And to top it all off, they're $2.3 million in debt on health care, and then there are 1 point some odd million dollars in meeting net school spending, and they're so poor they can't even afford to feed the children at the Green School. Yesterday, Green School students were forced to choose between a salad or a PB&J sandwich because they ran out of food. The city doesn't even pay for that. That's paid for with USDA money.
Where'd the money go?
Where'd the money go?
That's right. And the other, as far as Cam, that's beyond, that's deplorable. And the fact is that had this not gone public, there would have been no apologies forthcoming from anybody. That was for political expedience. And you're not going to convince me of anything otherwise. Because the fact that they could even do something like this, if it occurred to them, you know, I mean, as you said, it's one of the newest schools. It's fully accessible. And to allow this to happen, to basically put him in front of the audience, facing the audience, and you're basically singling him out and not allowing him to stay with the rest of the group when you have the ability to do that, it's inconceivable to me. It just goes to show where our priorities are in the school system. Our priorities are to pay all these administrators big money for doing nothing and for lying and for misleading the public. Because again, at the school committee meeting, they lied about the health care again. They talked about them running under budget. They talked about the GIC, which by the way is $60 million in the hole, and the plan is crap. And you don't save any money with the GIC, because now I'm going to educate you. And I don't know why the school committee didn't walk to the government center and go to the group insurance office and find out the facts. They listen to these buffoons that are making big money completely misrepresent fact. Again. I talked to a reporter last night after yesterday afternoon after the IEC meeting, as did the chairman. So hopefully that article will come out. We presented the facts, and I'm going to present the facts again. And they had one of the school department COO, CFO, ABC, I don't know, whatever alphabetical title they put attached to them. There's 6 figures in money attached to the alphabet. So he was there getting an education. Because, you know, the school department, by the way, Fall River is the only city or town in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that attempted to get this money into their budget so they could play around with money. And then they said, well, we're short, so we can't buy textbooks, we can't replace people because we're short in the health care, and the retirees are causing this. And every single part of that statement is an absolute lie. This, and I showed you the other one from last month, this is what I showed the reporter, and he took a picture. This is a report from Group Benefit Strategies, a professional healthcare monitoring and oversight company that works in over 100 communities in Massachusetts, and we get this report monthly. This report shows very clearly that we are not only not over budget, we are $2,090,615 under budget so far this year.
I thought you were $2.3 million short.
Well, you know, therein lies the rub, the half-truth and the misunderstanding by the people who were doing the numbers. Last year, these are last year's figures, okay, we were $2.6 million under budget at the end of the year. We ran at 94.7% of the funding rate. This year, we're running at 92.6%. So we may have even more money at the end of this fiscal year because we are running under budget. And what they did was, and I'm going to explain this again, and maybe they can listen to this, because they say they never watch our show, but we know they do. It's like, listen, the school department does not have their own health care. Everybody in the city of Fall River is in a group insurance pool, because that's the way you save money. That's the reason we've run under budget for years and actually got national recognition for what we've done in healthcare. And that the Insurance Advisory Committee, that board has worked tirelessly and done a tremendous job. And we are in a pool because the way this operates, and if you look at healthcare throughout the world, this is what they attempt to do: get as many people in the system as possible, because the older people obviously are going to use more healthcare. The younger people don't use it virtually at all, and everybody in the middle is in the middle. And what happens with these two on the far ends of the spectrum is that they stabilize the premiums for everybody. This way, if you carve the older people out and figure the experience just on them, the premiums are going to be astronomical. And by the time the young people get old, they won't be able to afford health care. This is the reason healthcare. So this is the reason for the GIC dummies in the school department. It was to consolidate everybody in the state into one pool so we could stabilize premiums. But we've been doing that in Fall River forever. We do not have what they call an adverse selection pool, which is carving out small groups. But that's what the school department did by looking for this money so they could play around and say, oh, we're $1.3 million in the hole. We're $2.3 million in the hole. And then at the end of the year, when they get that money, they've got $2.3 million to play around with. Because they're not, it's only on paper. They're part of a group. And the bottom line to prove that is the school department employees, the janitors, the security people, the teachers, they're not under budget. They're not over budget. As a matter of fact, they're under budget because they're part of this. And as a matter of fact, this is for the group. This is the report for this month. We actually have almost $5.5 million in our health care trust fund. That's in addition to part of that surplus. So we've got over $5 million. So we're not running under budget. We're not over budget. We're well under the budget. But what happens is the school department, because in their infinite wisdom, they decided to take over something that they have absolutely no understanding of. And CJ is in the field, so he understands. It's very, very complicated. You've got stop-loss insurances, you've got actuarial projections, and when you're a self-insurer, the claims go up and down. It's not like a premium where they just pay. It's like you pay the bills as they come in. Some months are good, some months are bad. You get 2 or 3 bad months, then you get 2 or 3 good months. And at the end of the year, the actuarial projections have always been that we've run under budget for years. The actuarials are very good at what they do, projecting costs. So we're running under budget. So let me get but they're misrepresenting it. They took their little piece of the pie out of the group and did the numbers for their little group. But their little group isn't really a little group. It's a big group. So one of the analogies I used to the reporter, and I don't know if he's going to use it, is let's look at the health care plan like the budget plan in the gas company. You choose to pay on a budget plan, and you pay a stabilized amount. So they give you so the school department took their ratio of that amount. Now, at the end of that, I don't know, 9-month period or whatever it is for the budget, if you had a really good winter, you don't get a gas bill for the rest of the year. But if you had a bad winter, you owe them money. So you have to go to your savings account and take some extra money out to pay for your gas bill. Well, guess what? They're part of the group. If they're $2 million under and we're $2 million over, we're actually more than that because those figures are flawed anyway. But let's, for the sake of argument, say that we're $4 million under budget and they're $2 million over budget. At the end of the year, they just say, give us the money. Just like we have this for the employees. If our contributions, there's the 5 million right over here. 5 point, there you go. And if you get that on the top, you can see the date. Okay, this is the date we had the meeting, that's my handwriting, and this is their reconciliation date on the other side here. So we can see this. And while we got such a great close-up, let me show you the numbers on the other one. This is this year, it's at the bottom, showing you that we are running, let's see, here we go, 92.6, bottom number, the other way, CJ, that's estimated funds. Those are the various plans. Actual funding rates, if you look at the funding rates of the various plans, it comes down to the bottom figure, 92.6% we're running at, and we have 2,090,615 in surplus. Okay? So, their figures are crap. These aren't my figures. I didn't make these up like they did, or take them out of context like they did. So what happens is, like with the gas company, they go over, they send the city a bill, and they go, yo, you didn't give us enough money, you guys are under budget, we're over budget, we need this much money, and they get the money from the city. And this is what caused the whole problem. You know what caused the whole problem? The whole problem is that none of these people that get paid do their jobs properly. Guess what? We've seen how many city council meetings where nobody in our financial team had a correct number. Well, guess what? We have a situation where nobody on a school department financial team apparently knows what the hell's going on either. Because the fact, now you put these two together, and you've got the hydrogen bomb of inefficiency. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think how, inefficient these people are. They should all be fired. Why do we need a forensic audit? This is why. You know what happened to the school department? 2 years ago, we gave the city a loan for the CanRx for the drug plan of $900,000. The city had to pay us back. They paid us last year, they paid us this year, second half. So, school department wasn't charged. Now when the school department now wants that money in their budget, they're liable for that money. But they didn't factor that in. Why? Because their comment was, what I was told is, they didn't know about it. Well, you know something? You got a guy making $100,000. You ask for this. Be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. You got these people making in excess of $100,000. They wanted this, but they didn't know what they were getting. They didn't research it. They didn't sit down and go over all the numbers, what they were required to pay, how it works, where it goes, and then they run to the school committee, and then you got these school committees saying, oh, we got to go to the GIC. Oh, we got to do something about health insurance. Oh, the retirees are causing problems. Well, the retirees plan is running the lowest. It is at 61.6% of funding. But the school department has many of its people who are what we call non-Medicare eligible. They never had a job long enough in the private sector to qualify for Medicare, so they have to stay in the city plans. And of course, if they're older, they go to the doctor more. So if you want to carve them out and look at them, of course you're going to have a higher experience rate. But that's also reduced by the younger people, and you got to look at the group. So people, we are being misled again. The school committee doesn't have enough brains to go ask the city what's going on so they could get the actual numbers. And they're going to take this, and what's the knee-jerk reaction? Oh, the healthcare's got a problem. Oh, take more healthcare away from them. Oh, do this, do that. Oh, nothing. We got a national award for our efficiency. This plan has run under budget for years. In the last 5 fiscal years, Fall River has made $15 million. $15 million more because of the cost shift to the employees. And to disparage and ignore the hard work of the Insurance Advisory Committee, and to lie about the figures that were reported, by the way, to the DOR by the city of Fall River. I didn't make up this number. These are the figures that the city of Fall River reported to the Department of Revenue on how much they saved on the health care. $15 million. And now to try to use this to deny textbooks, to not fill positions, when you know this is not a real deficit, is criminal to me. It's not just incompetence and inefficiency. It's criminal. And our outgoing mayor kept the lies going because he still doesn't understand health care. And you know something? It makes me really glad he's not there anymore, because let's see what the new mayor comes in. Because as I said, this problem shouldn't happen. If you had somebody who was a real leader, and this began, and this isn't that, this went back a month ago. We started talking about this a month ago, and a month this problem hasn't been resolved.
And remember,
And the public hasn't been told the truth. So why don't you lock the two, you know, the A-bomb and the H-bomb that we call their financial teams in a room and slide the food under the door until they come up with an understanding of what the real numbers are. And if they don't come up with the numbers, leave them there forever, because they're useless anyway.
but remember, Chip, okay, on the school committee side, you have Melissa Panchley as chairman of the finance committee. Okay? Now, she supposedly has a finance background and everything else, and she can't figure this out. I sat down with the numbers they were spewing last month for 2 minutes with the same reporter and said, this is BS. And he goes, oh, no, this is, I said, no, this is BS. This is a lie. I said, and you want to speak to an expert on this. You don't want to listen to them. You want to get, oh, no, I got to report on what they say here. That's fine, but you got to get to an expert.
Well,
And,
you're
you know,
right. And the thing is, CJ, that they don't understand what adverse selection is.
No, exactly.
And they don't, and Melissa Panchley can add numbers maybe, but she doesn't understand the healthcare system, and it's a group and there's no adverse, because the other example, he probably won't put in a paper because sometimes I get a little colorful, but I said,
Not
listen,
you.
let's say I was in charge of the healthcare on the island of Molokai. All right?
Nice
Hawaii.
island.
And I decided to carve out the leper colony and give them their health care budget separately. Now, what happens when the leper colony has very high medical rates? Because obviously it's a leper colony. They're going to be well above the budget when we proportion it for the group, because the group stabilizes the premium, as I explained before. So what do? I don't run and go, oh, because it's a fact. But it's not a real fact. It's out of context. It's an adverse selection. It's not that's not the true figure. I can't run and say, oh, the leper colony on Molokai is $3 million over budget. Woe be to us. We can't buy them medicine anymore. We can't feed them. We can't do anything anymore because we have no money. Because then the government would have to slap me in the head and say, listen, idiot, you're running $3 million over budget because you have a bunch of sick people in a group and you were stupid enough to carve them out. And look at their numbers as an separate entity, which they're not. They're part of the group. The group is running well under budget. We got plenty of money, and if you're $3 million under because of your bills are going to get paid anyway. So, you know, it's all crap, and I don't care. But, you know, Melissa Panchley looked at a snapshot out of context and didn't understand the system. I don't have to tell you, CJ, healthcare is one of the most complicated systems in the United States. There's all kinds of problems. They have a new reporting system that has over 200,000 codes. And the ICD-10, they've got adverse selections, you got actuarial projections, you got all kinds of deals. This is the paperwork from one meeting, okay? This is the paperwork from one meeting with figures and stats. You've got to be in the system. You've got to be part of this. You've got to understand it. You've got to be somebody who's been doing this for years. CJ's been doing it for years. I was the chairman of the Insurance Advisory Committee for 24 years. I've been doing this over 30 years. I understand the system. But did they do anything? No. They ran off half-cocked, and they figured out a way to scam it, and that's exactly what it was. It was a scam, because they're saying they don't have any money, and in fact, the health care money is there for them to get. And the reality is, what are they going to do with that money that they're saying they can't spend now when they've got it back to spend?
Well, you know, Chip, the thing is that, you know, here's the problem with the system in general. We had this happen with Mayor Sutter when he took office. We've had this with Meg Mayo Brown since she took office. People don't go to the experts who have the knowledge. They sit there and they go, I am the be-all, end-all, bow before me. It's not how it works. Carlos is over there very quiet today. But while we're on insurance, I need to, you know, digress a little bit to show you the effectiveness of our state representatives. You know those great auto discounts and home discounts you get for being part of a credit union or teachers union or fire union or whatever? Well, on January 1st, 2016, because your state representatives, your senators did not pass legislation to continue them. So you will get that 5 to 8% increase in your insurance rates, and guess what? Too bad. Even the insurance company told them that this was going to happen. Imagine that the insurance company was trying to save you money. Amazing. And Carlos, you have something going on today?
Oh, I have a lot of things going on today. Like three things at the same time, because I had to change my phone. I lost half of my appointments. And by the time people start calling me this morning, I have to overbook myself like 3 meetings at the same time.
Overbook, you're impotent.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But I didn't want to miss this show, and I think that's when I come in. I think we have a birthday today, right?
Yes, we do.
So that's why
there's a gentleman here who has a birthday.
Yes.
So you know, a big old happy birthday to our co-host and angry representative of the people.
Well,
I
I'm
could not
sorry.
miss it
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we had to do this, but we have to ask. Forget about birthdays, because it's the Battle of the Bulge was on December 16th. The Boston Tea Party was on December 16th. The recall was on December 16th. And I will say, for the record, that was the best birthday present I ever got last year when we had the recall. So, but let me say that politicians stay angry. Ask them, why did you try this? Why didn't you know what you were doing? All these high-paid people went in front of a legislative body and misrepresented fact, and they're getting big salaries. Be angry, really angry, because I'm angry, because I'll tell you, the people on the AAC worked their asses off on this. And to keep this health care manageable, and we did. So stay angry, and happy birthday to the recall.
Happy birthday.
I stopped counting after 29. So.
Happy birthday, Chip. Stay angry, and we'll see you Friday.